Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, the show that helps adult children, seniors, and senior living professionals navigate the emotional, practical, and financial side of senior care. I'm Dale Corpus, a senior transition specialist and real estate expert based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I created this podcast to make senior living info more accessible, human, and hopeful. My guest today is Orlando Nevarez, owner of Nevarez Moving Company, a trusted name across the South Bay senior living professional community. Orlando and his team aren't just movers. They're compassionate partners who support seniors and their families through the big and often emotional transition of downsizing and relocating. While I've had other moving specialists on the show before, today's episode has a unique angle. We're diving into how his family-run business became a beloved name in the community, the deep trust he's built with senior living professionals locally, and the behind-the-scenes details of making a move smooth. From emotional support to logistics to working closely with families and facilities. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, where we help families navigate senior living, real estate, and everything in between. Hosted by Senior Transition Specialist Dale Corpus, this show brings you expert insights, real solutions, and stress-free strategies to make senior transitions simple. Ready to dive in? Let's go.
And we are back, everybody. Orlando, welcome to the show today. How are you?
Thank you, Dal. I'm amazing. Saturday, we're super busy. About, I think, 4 or 5 teams out there right now. So definitely had the time for you right now. But later on, it's continued to be beautiful mayhem, what we call in this industry.
Orlando, you're such a good multitasker, and you're also a hustler, and I love it.
Yes.
So let's start with your story. How did you get into the moving business, and what led you to specialize in helping seniors?
Wow. Yes. So I used to work in high school and even college during the summer with the big van lines like North America, other big van lines, just moving businesses basically. And my family introduced me to that. I got family that still works with me and are working for other companies as well. And yeah, that was my introduction. Now, working for big corporations is different logistics.
Yeah.
It's a quantity over basically, just the amount of people that roll on those jobs, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 people at times for one job. That's humongous.
Wow.
Yeah, so that really got me enticing. I used to work for corporate America, beautiful company, great company. And I thought to myself, it's time to venture out by ourselves, on my own for that matter. And I asked family, like, guys, what do you guys think about creating a moving company? And they liked the idea. They just didn't want to be like part of the ownership.
Yeah.
They say, go get the jobs and we'll assist you on completing them and make sure they go well. So I did that. And we started actually moving companies. Local companies from Palo Alto to San Francisco and so on, and then came out to be residential moves, apartment moves, and so on. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing assisted living, and I'm like, how do they move in there? Do they move in there? Like, I know there is people living in there. How do they get in there? And it just happened that I had a good friend of mine that was a director. And it took me a little bit of knocking that door, but he was the one that really educated me on that beautiful realm of our seniors.
Perfect. Now, Nevarez Moving is a family-run company. Can you tell us about that dynamic and how it shaped your approach to service?
Yes. So working with family is awesome, but also working with family in the back end could be a little bit like, let me give her some time. Let me make sure she deals with her things. So it's right now it's me, my wife, my oldest son, my youngest son, 2 of my uncles, and then my mom. So just that realm right there on running logistics is us as family. And of course, we got other people that work with us. It's fun. It's entertaining. We could definitely, I could say this, the meetings when it's just the family go a particular way. When there's other employees, it goes another particular way. But it's very exciting, honestly. I would not change it for anything. The atmosphere is amazing.
Yeah. And it seems like you guys all have a cohesive group. And then you're one of the few families, I'm taking it, maybe that is able to work professionally and still be a family together too. I think that's tough, don't you say?
Yes, we have to learn how to turn it off. I think at
You,
the beginning it was a little bit hard. It will be 7 or 8 at night, and then either they will bring up a conversation about a move or a upcoming move or a client or something, and be like, guys, we got to turn this off at this time, regardless what it is. We just gotta leave it for tomorrow, and it had to be like
yeah.
that. Yeah, it took a time to get to that point, but we're basically there already.
Your company, you're a familiar and trusted name in the South Bay senior living professional community. What has helped you build such strong trust with local facilities and partners?
You know what? We're very humble. Everybody that we come across with, we always share care, love, and we like to listen first and see what they have around them, what they're dealing with, whether it's assisted living or the people that work around it, like you, Del, right? I
Right.
really care about you guys' story, who you guys are, your approach. I mean, a lot of the things we have learned have been from people like you and
Okay.
other people that work in the senior realm. So our approach is always listen what their needs are, see if we could approach it in that sense and help them out. And then that's the way we started building basically our last name brand. That is our last name. So yeah.
Excellent. Now, in your experience, what makes senior moves different from a typical move?
In my opinion, they're not like residential. They're not like apartment. They're not like a business. I always tell people that we don't have a sales team. We have a caring team. And that's our approach to any call. The senior realm changed a lot of the things we actually started doing. And the amount of attention, detail that we have to put, even when they call in the conversation, the follow up, if there's any changes that need to be made to the date and time, all that changed for us. And yeah, it's just very different. You're dealing not just sometimes with one person. There's been times we deal with 10 family members and they were not communicating with each other. And we just took the time to make sure everybody understood and what direction we were going, making sure we took all of their feedback. And that included from the family fiduciaries and everything else that comes involved sometimes with that transition. And that actually made us even better. So I'm happy about all those learning experience we have gotten from our seniors and families.
Yeah, and I must say, I know that these moves come with a lot of emotion, right? A lot of seniors are overwhelmed emotionally when it's time to move. So, how do you and your team show up with care in these moments?
So it starts from the office. You know, we have to train our movers on that from the
Yeah.
emotional aspect. Unfortunately, we have family crying at the moment when our team arrive, you know, even our seniors that are moving, sometimes a little bit frustrated. It happens. And our team has to understand that comes with the territory. You know, it's a very, very stressing situation. They're dealing with the assisted living community. They're dealing with us. They're dealing with the home they're getting vacant. They're dealing with the bills. I mean, it's a big plate at times, you know. So we just want to ease the move, like if possible, almost make it invisible to them. Where don't worry about this phase. This phase is gonna go as smooth as possible. Focus on the bigger fish, which is whatever it might be in your mind. But the move, just make it seamless.
Okay. Can you walk us through what the first conversation with the family looks like?
Of course. So whenever we get a phone call, we always listen. You know, they say we're moving. Let's say, example, a daughter calls. I'm moving my mom to assisted living. The
Mhm.
first thing we ask, um, do we know the
Okay.
move, the tentative move date?
Yeah.
How big is it? Is it a studio, a one room, a two room? The home where you're at right now, is it a one room, a two room? Is it a one floor, two floor? So all that plays a role on time that we will be spending on those two locations. The loading part, which is the starting point of the home or
Yeah.
whatever it might be, and then the end point. Usually if it's a studio or one bedroom, we don't need to do a walkthrough. You know,
Okay.
it's so simplistic to us already now that we got down the logistics on a move like that. But if they're moving to a two room, a living room, and then they say we got so many things we need to pack and so on, then the conversation might shift regarding Do you need us to go pack for you? Do you need us unpacking? What are some of the bigger items you're moving? Is that whole house going to get empty at one point? Do you need assistance on storage? We do that as well. So it just depends on what direction that conversation goes. But we always try to keep it as smooth as possible. And we always like to listen any questions they might have and really break it down for them with a great answer.
What are some signs a senior or their family may be ready for moving help, even if they don't realize it yet?
Well, I will say at times maybe their age, right? Maybe they already can't move the way they thought they could at times, right? Family needs to come in more often to the home if they live by themselves. Even if family are in their home, they start seeing sufficient changes that maybe their daily life as son, daughter, whatever lives in that home cannot accommodate no more because they have to be at work and so on. So that might be some steps of maybe needing some assisted living for sure.
Okay. A lot of times when you're moving seniors, I take it you're working with the adult children, they're involved. So this question is related to that. How do you work with adult children who might be managing the move from a distance?
Yeah, we do have quite a few of those. A lot of the times they will fly out here, a lot of them, at least
Okay.
either the day of the move or maybe a couple of days before. I don't recall many not flying down just to make sure everything goes according to maybe what they would like. But yeah, no, we're very patient, but we'll find out right away if they're locally or not because they'll let us know. Guys, I'm not in town. I'm going to be in town these days. I'm going to go over the finer details when I'm there. But this is where they're moving. We're taking care of the paperwork. And this is where he or she is staying at. What can you guys assist me with? Do I need anything else other than give you information? They're moving to a studio, one bedroom, so on. So we make it as easy as possible. But at times we do hear the stress is understandable. They're far and it's hard to deal at times with all that put together from a distance.
Let's talk more about what happens even behind the scenes of a senior move. What does a typical senior move look like from start to finish with your company?
Yeah, so we'll break it down. If we need packing, we usually send a team 2 days before for packing, making sure everything's packed up, organized, ready to go, labeled. The day of the move, the client usually gets a text before, a day before from the program we have. They get a text the day before the move, and they'll get a phone call as well, just to make sure everything is up to par for their move. There's those few times that when we call, they say we're not ready yet. We might need another extra day or two, maybe even a week. We are very, very accommodating a move date for our seniors. Actually, we prioritize that over any other type of move that we do. If they need more time, if they need to pause and maybe need another month, we'll cater to that. We're going to make sure that they don't feel like, my goodness, if I reschedule, are they not going to put me on their calendar? Are they going to charge me more for rescheduling? None of that. That comes part of the program. So, yeah, so packing, the move comes in. We'll go in there both times. We'll introduce the whole team, whoever it is for the packing, whoever it is for the move. Make sure everything is ready to go. We'll let them know ahead of time to take their medicines, anything of high importance or value, if they could carry it, or we could give them that box right away. We'll go ahead and do that on the unloading. Whenever we get to the facility, we'll make sure that if any of the logistics have changed the way we have been conducting in there, on parking, on where to unload and so on, we'll go over that as well. Most of the times they don't change it that often unless they have something planned or anything like that. Then we'll park somewhere else differently and cater to that as well. And then make sure that we put everything where we agreed we were going to put the bed. If we disassemble anything, we will assemble it at the other end. So we'll make sure we cater to every single detail. If they want the room to look similar to their home, we'll definitely accommodate that as well. So very detailed.
What are some common hiccups that can come up during a senior move, and how do you help prevent or manage them?
Well, sometimes you have a little bit of control of that. Sometimes you don't. Let's say the elevator went out at the assisted living. You have no control over that, so stairs it is, or an emergency. The fire department are there, the ambulance in there. Sometimes we have to even though we're parked in the correct area, we have to move completely far away from there. And that changes the whole dynamic on time and all of that, right? So we stay vigilant on making sure we tell our clients if any change happens, we try to accommodate them as best as possible. It has happened before where the last minute, I'll give an example, a resident decided to take their whole house at the end. They said, no, I don't want to take just some things. I know we agreed to that. I want you
Hmm.
to take my whole house. And so that took a lot of time. So I had to accommodate more movers for that and to make sure it went as fast as possible, but as correctly as possible. So we try to make it seem it's not that heavy for them. Get all stress out the way, and we'll take care of the stress. Let us deal with that.
You've helped many clients, many seniors transition. What are some examples or even stories that just jump out to you where your team really went above and beyond?
Um, I will say, I will extend on that last story I just said. I think that was a really good story. So the gentleman had a little bit of dementia. We had family working with him. He wanted to take the whole home. The truck we had was not the right size because we knew what we were picking up, and it just changed everything. So, and we also had to accommodate time for them to discuss that with the family while we were there. So we had to step back to make sure they figure that out. And I mean, we accommodated tremendously on the truck size, the amount of people we had to introduce at the end. Not just that, that move started at 7 a.m. and it finished with different teams at one point at 3 in the morning. It was a very unique, a special move. And everything had to be perfect for this gentleman. Like it basically, you have to make the house that we just picked up the items, make it look the same in this home, from the stereo, the TV, the folded clothes. It was, yeah, it was a beautiful project. And I think we did fantastic. I mean, we got a great review off that. So that says it all.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you're very active in the local senior care network. How has that helped your business grow?
You know what? It has helped me a lot. My wife calls me a social butterfly. So that says it all. She said, like, you go and then I'll go. Listen, I learned so much from all you guys, from everybody around the senior realm that really, really cares. And I'll say all the people I ever met does care in there. And then just, even if we're in different industries, the objective is how to best assist and help our seniors and their families. And that's what we're here for as well. So any feedback that you guys have seen on anything, any stories that come up, I'm really attentive to that. I really pay attention to that because that could help us as well on any particular realm. And not just that. Sometimes they ask questions on reference. Orlando, we don't have a person to sell our home. Dell is here. You know, I need a nurse for my parents. You overhear that, and you might be able to opinionate on some things. And that helps the family tremendously. So, yes, I learn a lot from all the people I'm around with. It's amazing people out there helping our seniors and families. And I really enjoy learning from you guys, and not just hanging out, but just the lectures and comments that come along with that is amazing. Yes.
Excellent. Now, what would you say to a senior living professional looking for a reliable moving company to partner with? What should they be looking for?
Not all moving companies are the same, and not even us from one for another.
Yeah.
We really hyper focus in working with our seniors, and that means that we take the time to really know this beautiful realm, and it's not in and out
Yeah.
like a typical move, right?
Right.
A residential move as an example. Not that they're not important, because they are as well, but in here, you just gotta take your time and patience. And like I said before, you cannot be a salesperson and move on to the next one. You've got to be a caring person when you answer that phone, whether it's me, my team, my wife. And I'll tell you this much. We even have made a couple of friends of the seniors. We'll drink coffee with them. We'll go eat lunch with them. So that's how much we care. We don't gain nothing by going to lunch after we move them. It's
Mhm.
just the love that we care for our seniors. we'll go enjoy some time with them, because at times they don't have a whole lot of people around them to have a good time or whatever it is, and we will cater to that. I will say that's in part the difference from us, that we really care for our seniors. We really do the job very diligently, and we will follow up with them, make sure that anything else regarding the move or any other things that we might be able to share or assist them with, or find them the right person or help to make sure they continue to live a good life.
The fact that you have lunch with some of the seniors, that says a lot about you. I just want to say that. And people, what's the saying? People don't care about what you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're showing that you care. It's really helping you grow your business. Now, how do you build referral relationships with placement agents, fiduciaries, and realtors like myself?
So I like them to know who we are, what we do, really catering to make sure they know we cater to the senior realm. We ask them what they do, see if it's potential on the short run or long term, if we could work together, and maybe how we could possibly maybe bring them on board with us, and if they could also cater to us on that, whether it's letting them know about special events with our seniors, maybe events at the assisted living, maybe if we create our own events, how we could bring them on board and maybe show them what we could bring to the table as well. But I think they'll notice the way we care and cater to our seniors and the way we function around the whole senior realm. That's how we like getting attached to some of you guys, that seniors is a big deal for us and we really cater to them.
Got it. I forgot to ask this earlier on, but geographically for your business, what areas do you cover?
We cover basically all in Northern California almost. I mean, we've gone past San Francisco. We've gone all the way to Morgan Hill, Gilroy, all the way to Sacramento. So I will say this, typically our moves are mostly local, maybe within a 50, 60-mile radius. Yeah, but we've gone even out of state to either take some of our seniors or even bring them into the Bay Area.
Okay. Yeah. Now, you've seen a lot of different living situations. Are there any community models or housing solutions you think are especially great for seniors?
That is a tough question, right? Because I could say I'm not a specialist on that. So it's kind of hard to break down what their needs is until somebody that knows hears from them, right? Like senior placement. I think they do a fantastic job. We work with quite a few of them actually. And I think it goes depending on their needs once you have a deep conversation with them. Now, don't get me wrong. All the facilities we work with are amazing, but I do know that some cater very specific things to our seniors. And I think once they speak to somebody that really knows that realm, they could definitely find the right home for them.
Okay. What's one piece of advice you'd give to families preparing for a senior move?
Take your time, do a checklist of what you want, what you're looking for. Moving company wise, I would say pick us, but I know there's other amazing moving companies that are humble like us and working hard, right? But yeah, do a checklist, what you really want, what you really want to take, especially on the move. You can't take the whole house on some of this assisted living that you move, especially if it's a 1 room or 2 room. And it's hard because sometimes our seniors want to take everything. It's theirs.
Yeah.
They want to see them next to them. But yeah, just do the checklist, take your time. If you call us, we'll gladly guide you through some steps on how best to work around all the items you might have. We have concierge, so they can even go out there and assist you with the room size, break it down, what really fits in there, what really doesn't fit in there. So yeah, that would be my thing, just the checklist. And if you reach out to us, we'll gladly assist you on that to ease the way on that.
Now, a related question is, what are the most common mistakes people make during this process?
If there is substantial packing, sometimes they feel like they could do it, and we get there the day of the move and maybe they got to a quarter, maybe half of the packing. If they sometimes finished it all, it's not packed well and they don't label them, so it's hard to know what's really fragile, what's really not at that point. So we're kind of guesstimating the team. And that's when you have incidents of broken items, misplaced regarding like if we put a box in one of the two rooms and they're focused in this room, like I can't find this item. It might take more days to find it, maybe more
Yeah.
hours for sure. Also, the details when you call us, if we ask if it's a 1 floor, 2 floor house that we're collecting the items from, is very important. So we'll give you a correct estimate on how long it will take for sure, man.
Now let's talk logistics. How far in advance should families contact a mover like you?
Usually 2 weeks to a month is the preferred time to contact us. That will take a lot of the stress off on a lot of other things. Once we break down, we know we guide you on possibilities of what services we recommend for your upcoming move, whether it's packing, moving, storage, unpacking, whatever it might be. Then you have a decent idea of what services they might really need at that point. We have done last minute moves, even same day moves.
Oh, wow.
We have done it, right? And it's only been for us seniors. No other, if a house falls, it's harder that way. But yeah, we really accommodate them, especially if assisted living call us, Orlando, for some reason, the other moving company didn't make it. We need you. Can you cater me right now? And we say yes. Regardless, if there's multiple moves going out that day, we make sure we accommodate that because we know the importance for the family and the assisted living to have that family in there.
Right. And then you look like a superhero.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah. Hey, what's your take on downsizing? Any tips for families who feel overwhelmed by too much stuff?
Yes. So the easiest thing is, where are you moving to? How big is it? That's for sure the main thing. How much items can you really fit in there? What's the biggest items you're taking? Anything else besides the basic, if it's a studio, one room, it's going to be beautiful mayhem in that living space for sure. I definitely recommend just taking basic if it's a one room or a studio. If it's any bigger than that, then you definitely have playing time. You could probably take way more than what you really need at that point. But I would say have us do a walkthrough. Let's see what you really need, especially if it's a lot of items they're trying to take, the families. Then we could really tell them, in all honest, this is too big of a piece for the floor plan I'm seeing for this studio. You want to give something in particular for this to fit or not, So yeah, we'll break it down like that. And there's places you can't take the whole house. You just can't.
Yeah. What keeps you passionate about doing this work?
You know what? Happiness. They're happy at the end of the day. The stress is off. It's clear. Now they could enjoy the great food that's in the assisted living communities. Everything's in order. Their beautiful statues, their TV, their sofas, looking like their home. They feel like this is it for me. I'm happy. A lot of good friends back and forth. And like I say, we follow up with them and we ask specific questions. How you feel about your beautiful new home? How's the amazing food in there? Did you get our gift that we always give at the end when we move them in there? Things like that. And that's how we become at times good friends with them. And yeah, that's how we function. That's how we do it for them.
Excellent. Have you had any personal experiences helping a loved one through a major move?
No, I have not. I will have one coming up. My mom has, how old is my mom? She's 63.
Okay.
She's actually outside playing with my daughter right now, outside my office. And I noticed that she loves collecting items. She had an antique store. She has maybe 4 storage units out there somewhere. And it's been hard because I've been trying to have her consolidate all those storages. I think she pays a couple of thousand. And I tell her, Mom, can I assist you on bringing all those items to my storage? It was hard because, I love her to death, but for some reason she thought I wanted to take away all her items and disappear them and throw them, right? And I told her, listen, if that is treasure for you, I'm okay, but let me help you with your treasures and bring it to my storage and either not pay anything or pay pennies on the dollar. Because she was saying, well, if I take them to you, I don't want you to feel like you're giving me things for free. Well, I'm supposed to give you things for free. She's like, I'm going to pay you a little bit. If that makes you feel comfortable, go ahead. So we have set up next Friday to go to Gilroy, San Jose, and I forgot the other city, to just collect all her beautiful items. And in the meantime, while we're collecting, she's gonna throw away some things, I guess, as well, and bring items here. And it's been a tough one because it's been years that I've been telling her that, years. And you just gotta be patient. You know, that's my mom. I want to make sure that she feels like I'm not pushing her. I want to make sure that she feels that I care for her because I do, and that I'm doing this out of love because I do. And I think after this many years, she feels like, okay, I gotta let my son accommodate me in this space and for me to save all those pesos.
Just out of curiosity, how has the moving industry changed, especially in the senior space, just over the last few years?
So it has definitely grown tremendously.
Okay.
A lot. It's amazing how big. I think you noticed that self. And I noticed a couple of things. It's grown tremendously. Um, I also know that, example, the house markets is like an up and down thing at times.
Mhm.
And we have all those other industries, like moving companies, trying to jump in this realm.
Mhm.
And one piece of advice that I will say to them, and not to say that they don't know how to do moves, because all moving companies know how to do moves.
Mhm.
You know, I will say that they just need to take the time to fully understand this realm. It's not like a regular move. You have to be loving and caring and patient
Yeah.
on all levels. And a lot of times, like the household area, because we do that as well, it's a lot of companies is just quota, 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 quota. Sell, sell,
Yeah.
sell, move on, sell, 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 move on. And I know this because in that side, it kind of functions a little bit that way for us, you know, but this area, yeah, it's a different realm. So it's growing tremendously. Moving companies are really trying to jump in here for that reason. I would just give advice that make sure you really know what you're jumping into and pay the attention that is needed.
Okay. Speaking of growing, let's talk about growing for your own company. What are your hopes for Nevarez Moving Company in the next 5 to 10 years?
You know what? I want to be the best senior moving company around all of California. You know, do I have all the logistics down for that right now? No, but you know, it will happen. It will happen. I really want that. I want our family name to be well known in the moving industry and the caring industry. That's how I will put it. And we always try to give back to the community. And whatever comes in, always a certain percentage goes out to the community. So we're really working on taking care of that. And for whatever we make, we don't keep everything. We give some of it out to our community.
I love that. One of my last questions is, what does the phrase simplify senior transitions mean to you personally?
It just means keep it basic. Whenever we're moving anybody, when any family wants to move, we just got to keep it as basic and professional as possible for her. That's what it means to me.
Okay. And any final words? And also, where can people find you if they want to learn more about your services?
Yes. So when I started this moving company, I definitely wanted to be different. I wanted to share the care and love that we do. And every day we push forward on that. Second, the senior realm is really where we cater to. And we love keeping it that way. And then if you ever want to find us on social media, it's Nevarez Moving Company. You'll find us on all platforms, including TikTok. Heck, I guess. Yes. So, yeah, we're located out of San Jose. We were in Campbell. We moved to San Jose recently. And I will say our services are concierge, packing, unpacking, moving, storage, disposal, and home cleaning or cleanouts when they move out the house. Yes.
And what's your website URL?
NevarezMovingCo.com.
Perfect. Orlando, thank you so much for being here and sharing your insight. You and your team at Nevarez Moving Company are doing such important work, not just getting boxes from point A to point B, but helping people navigate one of life's emotional transitions with care and dignity. And to those of you watching or listening, if your loved one is considering senior living and you need to figure out what to do with their home, let's talk. Schedule a free consultation with me by clicking on the Calendly link in the episode description on YouTube. Learn more about my services at www.simplifyseniortransitions.com. Have a quick question? DM me on Instagram. That's Sold by Dale. Be sure to check out other episodes on the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps other families find the show. Thanks for tuning in. Orlando, thanks so much for being a guest again.
Thank you, Dale. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. And for everyone else, I'll see you on the next episode of the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast.